TBC, what's the deal? So I want to talk about another heavyweight prospect, 19 and over, 15 knockouts, 29 years old, 6'6", 240 pounds. That right there alone lets you know that he has a chance in the heavyweight division, just that size and strength alone. Raw power, big guy, but there's not really footage on YouTube of him. The one fight that is on YouTube, I believe the link in the description box, he fought a guy named Ty Cobb. Ty Cobb has been in there with Deontay Wilder, Chaz Witherspoon, Arthur Spilka. Um, then there's another clip of him in a fight against a guy named Sylvester Barron, and the clip is like a minute and 30 seconds. That's all there is to go on. I know he fought Yasmani Consuerga on the Lara versus Zavik PBC undercard on ESPN. But I didn't get to see that fight. And then I was looking at his resume, and I seen that he beat Jamal Woods and Joel Godfrey. Those guys are journeyman guys, but they're much difficult opponents to deal with than meets the eye when you look at the record. Jamal Woods is 8-24-4. He's been in there with guys like Trevor Bryan. I thought he beat Tayshaun Dong when they fought, but he lost a majority draw or a majority decision loss. I thought he won that fight. You know, he was backing Dong up with the jab and hitting him with right hands. I thought he hurt him also in that fight. But and then Joel Godfrey, you know, comes in shape. He's really a cruiserweight. But he was just, you know, late. The fight I seen with him and Andy Ruiz Jr., he was laying against the ropes. But he usually takes prospects deep and takes them the distance. So for Nofire to, you know, beat those guys lets me know that, you know, he can do the same things that, you know, Andy Ruiz Jr. can do, and Jordan Schimmel, who's actually a cruiserweight, and Arthur Spilka and Deontay Wilder, you know, which is beat these level of guys. I looked on BoxRec to see where he's ranked, and they have him number 66. At 65, they have Tom Schwartz, the German kid who I did a prospect video on, and at number 67, they have Travis Kaufman, who just fought on the PBC card against Areola, a fight that I thought he won. I thought he won that fight by at least 1 point. But Nofire, like I said, there's not really much to go off on. I was looking at the Ellie Setback video of him, and in that video, Sam Watson was co-signing him, you know, giving him props in the video and co-signing him. So he has Sam Watson behind him. He's fought on some PBC cards, but, you know, kind of disappointed that his team doesn't have a lot of his footage uploaded onto YouTube, at least you know, a highlight package or something. But for him to really not have much video or tape out, you know, I've seen pros do this before when they're coming up. They don't want their footage to be out yet. I've been in gyms with guys who are 6-0 that didn't want their pro fights on YouTube, you know, because they didn't want their opponents to, you know, look at any of their pro fights, although, you know, the amateur fights are on YouTube. And with No Fire, I've seen his John McDermott amateur fight and his Joshua Butler amateur fight. Joshua Butler was actually a nationally ranked guy of some years ago, but I've seen those fights. And Nofire, he just looked, you know, raw, big, and strong in those fights. You know, he is very susceptible to being held. I wish some of these guys would hire Riddick Bowe, man, and teach them how to fight on the inside as big guys. But he is very susceptible to being held from what I've seen. But he does fight at range pretty decently. He does have a decent jab, decent power, nice right hand from what I've seen. But I want to see more of him. You know, 19 and over, 15 KOs. There's some interesting fights that could put him in there with to test him. You know, Derek Rossi, Fred Cassie, Joey DeWecco. There's some fights out there if you want to step up a little bit higher than that. You know, Trevor Bryan, another prospect level guy. Gerald Washington. You know, so I think there's some good fights to be made. And these guys will have to fight each other eventually. You know, there can only be one. You know what I mean? So another, you know, journeyman here or there, but eventually I want to see him step up against somebody, especially if he's going to be on these PBC cards and Showbox cards and so on and so forth. I want to see him step up against somebody of note. But as soon as they drop more footage of this guy, man, and put it on YouTube, I was heard he was working with John David Jackson. He left Oklahoma to go to Miami to get, you know, some work in there to work with John David Jackson. I don't know if he's still working with him, but I have heard that's who he was working with when he went to Miami. As soon as they drop more footage of this guy, man, and I will do more videos on him. But I've only seen one fight in one round. You know what I mean? So only seen a few rounds of this guys and a few amateur fights. But I like what I see. You know, there is definitely something there to work with, but also there's a lot to work on. And of course, we got to see how his chin holds up when he starts to get hit in the chin. But his inside game needs work from what I've seen. Even in the amateur days, he just